Hello and welcome to this Battle for the State special show. The exit polls were out last evening, but given that voting had just concluded in the state of Telangana for its 119 assembly seats, in fact not even completely concluded, voting as the first set of numbers hit the screens last evening, some poll agencies are releasing their forecast only this evening. So over the next half hour, we will have a structured conversation focused on Telangana. The future of the BRS and the KCR family, remember, is at stake in the southern state. NDTV is tracking 7 of the many exit polls that were put out yesterday, expecting a couple of more, as I mentioned, in a bit from now. The polls that were reported yesterday suggest the Congress with a win, and that's a body blow for the mighty K. Chandrasekhar Rao. That's there on your screens, and his Bharatiya Rashtriya Samiti. The poll of polls, or a rough averaging out, shows 44 seats for the BRS, 62 for the Congress, 2 more than the halfway mark of 60, 7 for the BJP, and 5 for the MIM in the 119-member assembly. 2 of the polls, the News 24 Today's Chanakya and Times Now ETG and the India TV CNX have given a decisive win to the Congress. In fact, India TV CNX giving an upper reach of 79 seats, and the Chanakya poll showing up to the 80 seat mark for the Congress, which is massive in the 119 member state assembly. Obviously, these are all exit polls and can be discussed only till tomorrow or Sunday, when the results will come out, and that will be the final word. 3 other polls are suggesting a neck-to-neck race, with upper limit for the Congress showing a win and the lower limit leaving a hung assembly, which may not be in favor of the Congress, given that the BRS may find it easier to find an alliance with parties like the MIM, the smaller ones. One of the polls predicts a hung verdict, but directionally all of them giving the edge to the Congress. AIMIM, the All India Majlis-e-Ittihadul Muslimin, given 5 to 7 seats in most of the polls. Remember, they have their traditional 7-seat bastion in Hyderabad, which they've held for decades, which is seen as their stronghold. They contested only in 9 seats in the 119-member assembly, and that was matter for conversation there on whether the minority vote will shift to the BRS or the Congress. The BJP is bound to increase its tally and its vote share, according to every report coming in from the state. It won only 1 seat in 2018, and according to the polls, some giving it double-digit numbers, which would be a boost for the National Party. So those are the numbers that you have on your screens there. We'll run you through all the different graphics that we have on Telangana, including the 2018 results and how that played out in that state, just to juxtapose what you've seen right now on your exit poll scene. Remember, 2018 was the first election in Telangana after the formation of the state. 2014 was an election after the announcement of formation of the state, but the state itself was carved out after 2014 elections. 2018, the first election which K. Chandrasekhar Rao advanced to delink it from the national parliamentary election, was a fascinating election. And in that 2018 poll, there you have it on your screens, the numbers very clear. On those screens, the BRS won 88 seats, the Congress 19. Remember, after those 19, 12 of them shifted over, 7 to the AIMIM, as I said, the strongholds of the Majlis-e-Ittihadul Muslimin. TDP won 2 seats. Remember, that was an election when the TDP and the Congress were in an alliance there in Telangana. So those data that you have on your screens there, the BRS, remember, 47% vote in 2018, Congress 28% vote, and the AIMIM 7% vote there in 2018. So the Congress had an enormous amount to gain in these elections. The average vote shares of the Congress, and just giving you the historic picture of Telangana, the average vote shares of the Congress, and this is put together by our data unit, between 1978 to 2018, 33.5%. In 2009, the Congress got 33.4% vote and won 50 of the 119 seats in what was United Andhra Pradesh. In 2014, it got 25.0% vote and won just 21 seats. And in 2018, it got 28.4% vote and won 19 seats. That's as far as the Congress story is concerned. The average vote share of the TDP, the original party of Telugu pride, dips It was an average of 33.3% between 1983 and 2009, and after that, a complete decimation and decline. Remember, the BRS is an offshoot of the TDP. In fact, K. Chandrasekhar Rao had named his son KT Rama Rao after his icon NT Rama Rao. So the TDP declines from 21% in 2009 to 4% in 2018, completely finished there. And the BRS, which broke away from the TDP in 2002-3, is the party that's dominated the Telangana scene. So what was an erstwhile TDP bastion has turned into a BRS bastion. The Congress was traditionally weak in this region, but post-2014, it became a bipolar battle between the Congress and the BRS, with the BJP playing a third player. So some fascinating aspects of Telangana there, which are playing out there in these elections. We're joined this evening by our special panel, starting with Mr. Sandeep Shastri, the cephalogist in the panel. We have Ravikant Reddy, political editor of The Hindu in Telangana, senior journalist Pula Rao, and I believe we can also go across to my colleague Uma Sudhir, who has been tracking every development there in Telangana. Ravi, first to you. We are waiting for a couple of more exit polls to come out. But so far, directionally, the indication's very clear. It's a decisive edge for the Congress. What's the sense you're picking up from the BRS and the other political players there in Telangana, in your city of Hyderabad?
Well, the exit polls are more or less what the situation was on the ground, actually. Because we have been hearing about Congress, people talking about Congress, and Congress coming back. The perception that Congress is picking up has been there for the last 1.5 months. So it's more or less a reflection of what's on the ground. But exit polls, you just can't trust them every time, or the numbers, because each of these exit polls have differed hugely. While three, in fact, I was looking at the major six. In four exit polls, they were Congress is way ahead. In two of them, there's a cliffhanger kind of thing where BRS and Congress, but still even there, Congress has a little edge of 1 or 2 seats. So overall, the indication is that nowhere the exit polls have shown Congress is behind BRS, except two. Which have not come out, which are not very heard of actually. But majority of exit polls have shown Congress lead. So that's what even Congress leaders are believing. In fact, Mr. Revant Reddy, the Pradesh Congress Committee President, claims that he's going to cross 75 and he's going to restrict BRS to 25. That is what his claim has been, and in fact he is maintaining this the same stand for the last 2 months. He says he has been on the ground, and that's what his indication. The right. BRS, on the other hand, looks a bit shaken, definitely, by the exit polls, but they are still have put up a brave face. Mr. KT Rama Rao, the working president and the municipal minister, has come out and said that don't believe these exit polls. In fact, the chief minister also, when some senior leaders met him today, he also said that we are going to come back. Don't worry. Don't get worried by the exit poll results.
Right, Ravi. As we get those reactions, I just want to get Sandeep Shastri as well in. Sir, when you see these exit polls, and I believe Uma Sudhir is also joining us live now, but first to you, Sandeep Shastri, when you see these exit poll numbers, a couple of them giving as high as 80 seats to the Congress, which would be a fascinating sweep for that party in a 119-member assembly. But there are many of them which are sort of hedging their bets. The lower end would leave it as a hung assembly, and the upper end would give the Congress only 60, 62 seats, which is not an extremely comfortable number for the party. What do we make out of these exit polls directionally?
Veera, as you have rightly said, for the BRS to be displaced in Telangana, it required a huge vote shift towards the Congress party. And we have been discussing on your show for a few days now that is there a wave election in Telangana? Is there a sweep that is happening? And if the exit polls are any indicator, I think the state may have seen a wave election And when you have a wave election, pollsters sometimes cannot get the full pulse of the wave. And therefore, they hedge their bets and talk about a little beyond the halfway line or close to the halfway line. And some would go overboard and take it the full extent. But I think for me, the message in the exit polls is very clear that the Congress has very clearly challenged the BRS, and if the polls go the way they are going,
Right.
are seeing the impact of anti-incumbency. You are seeing the impact of
Right.
welfareism not really being the sole factor in a result. You are seeing the impact of the perceptions on corruption. You are seeing the impact of what is challenged as family. All these factors coming together, I think, to help the Congress in displacing.
We will decode each of those factors because we have time till 7:30 as we wait for the last of the exit polls to come out. But Uma, what would be a comfortable number for the Congress? Because, I mean, you see them feeling very comfortable at 60, 62, which is the poll of polls is what is predicting, because some of them are saying it could be just around that mark. Or do they really need a 70 kind of victory? Because Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, when I met him in Hyderabad, in that interview said, look, we are not just looking at a victory, we're looking at a comfortable victory.
Veera, you're very right. 60 is the magic figure as on paper, but Congress certainly is not going to be safe and home with a 60. Very clearly, I've been speaking to many senior Congress leaders and they all say that 60 to 65 is dangerous territory. It's a territory where you're going to have horse trading and they would need at least a 70 to be able to say that they are safe. One senior Congress leader said there are coverts of the BRS in the Congress itself and they are fearing that there could be a movement of Congress leaders. It has happened in the past when KCR did not even need those MLAs, but right now they think the situation is such that if they have to form the government, they need to be upwards of 65, 70, certainly 65 they say is not safe enough because 5 to 6 MLAs could easily move. The other thing that another very senior leader pointed out is that they believe that the BJP does not want a Congress government here and they are also attributing political kind of decision making on the part of the governor who will in fact be inviting the largest party to come and form the government and therefore they believe that the Congress needs to get 70 plus. The other scenario that is being spoken about, you spoke about possibly a hung assembly. One other theory which actually a Congress strategist said was done was that it is possible even that then AIMIM could back a Congress. We all know that if the BRS were to fall short, we would think that the AIMIM can go, would be helping them, would be supporting them. But yes, this theory, or rather, I was told in fact that the back channel talks are on to say that if the Congress does fall short, AIMIM may not be reluctant in fact to lend support in order to fight also that kind of a feeling, the perception that's gained ground that is hurting Asaduddin and his party that they are helping the BJP.
It will be a very busy time for you, Uma. After between 2009 and 2014, Hyderabad journalists, political observers and analysts like you had a very, very busy time. It may end up being a busy time if the numbers are not that clear. But Mr. Pulla Rao, before I take a break, what's the sense you are picking up? What would be the comfortable number for the Congress? How do you see this playing out in the next 48 hours?
See, basically, I don't see any problem for the Congress because the AIM Owaisi's party will support whoever forms the government. That has been its tradition ever since his father and earlier Qasim formed the party. They go with the government. They have grievances. They solve with the government. They'll have no compunction whatsoever in saying BRS may get support of BJP, we don't want non-secular government, we support Congress. You take it from me, there will be no problem. As Umaji has said, it is beyond back channel talks. It has already been wink, is going on. I don't think BRS in a losing streak can depend on parties or people also. Once you lose, in politics, People desert the sinking ship. I don't want to use the word rats, but everybody will run away.
Right.
On the contrary, there is AIMM's 7 votes, 6 votes will be with the Congress due to all India reasons also.
Okay.
There's no way he's going to support BRS and go into that kind of thing. So I don't see any problem actually for the Congress.
That's an important point that you're saying. You're saying even at 60, we will take that up for discussion. Even at 60, once you cross the halfway mark, you're safe. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, we'll continue having this conversation. We'll also be joined by newsmakers from the ground in Telangana. But for the moment, a quick break. Welcome back. We're having this fascinating conversation on Telangana. We just discussed what would be a comfortable number for the Congress if, at the end of the day, is it just halfway past? And of course, different opinions coming up. Just throwing that point up for discussion. Uma, to you first before I go to Ravikant. The MIM would eventually have to support the Congress if it needs the numbers, says Mr. Pullarao. So the Congress is safe even at 60, 62 is his argument.
The Congress certainly is not safe at 60-62, but I must also come back to this point about the BRS itself. While these exit polls are indicating this, KT Ramarao continues to be very confident, in fact, and continues to insist that they are winning and actually winning big. And he is in fact saying also that he thinks the sentiment has changed in the last 2 days. Of course, we are talking about exit polls, so that happens on when people are exiting after casting their vote. But he believes that in the last 48 hours before voting, a lot had changed, and therefore he believes even in those constituencies. I was given examples of constituencies like Mulugu, where Anusuya is contesting, and also constituencies in Nalgonda, which otherwise has been claimed as a clean sweep for the Congress. Even in those areas like Munugod, which saw that very expensive bypoll, the BRS still continues to believe that they are going to actually make it there.
Right. Interesting that you're saying that. Ravikant Reddy, in terms of, let's shift focus away from the Congress. Often, we can do the focus after the final results are out on whoever's going to win. But as far as the BRS is concerned, it's going to be a very, very difficult battle, given that so much has been revolved around one family. It's going to be a very difficult battle if these exit poll numbers come through.
Yeah, Veera, I think that's true because, if Congress gets, as Uma was saying, it's 60, 62, and if, a very aggressive leader like Mr. Revant Reddy becomes the chief minister, I'm sure BRS will face some kind of problems. He'll try to ensure defections, and that is the only way to strengthen a party now. I mean, that's being accepted by all the political parties. That's what we have seen in 2014 and 2018. And in fact, Mr. KCR, the Chief Minister, Mr. Chandrasekhar Rao, justified it, saying that, a state like Telangana needs a strong team, a strong, ruling party. And that's why he's encouraging, he's admitting leaders from TDP and Congress. So the Congress would surely do that, would follow that. And that's what, in fact, BRS is worried about. Because there are a lot of these BRS MLAs, if you look at them, majority of them, they don't come from these political families. They are first generation MLAs who have contested and won 2 times, and it's always easy to target them because their association is not with the party but with Mr. KCR as an individual or during the agitation. But when a situation comes that the party is moving away from power, definitely there will be people, there will be MLAs which the Congress would like to target, and I think they must be doing that. I don't say they are doing that. Right. They must be doing that because most of people have gone from Congress. There are at least 30 MLAs who in BRS who come from the Congress background. So obviously their friends are in Congress. They'll always be open to some kind of negotiations and come back to Congress. Right. So the biggest challenge from BRS, if they don't come to power, is to save those MLAs. Despite Mr. KCR's strong leadership.
I know, I think Uma also wants to make a point, but before that, Uma, I just want to go across to Sandeep Shastri quickly on the BJP factor here. Look, 1 seat in 2018, people said it was getting squeezed out. If you look at Telangana, there is North Telangana, which is the BRS's stronghold. You've got districts like Khammam and Nalgonda, which is the Congress's stronghold, and then you have Greater Hyderabad. What do we make of the BJP's rise? While the Congress has accused the BRS of having a tacit understanding with the BJP and AIMIM, does the BJP's rise, like it did in Karnataka with the JDS, affect the BRS more than it affects the Congress? What's the sense you're picking up? Quick response from you before I go to Uma.
Veera, after the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, people were talking up the BJP being the number 2 party in the state. And now I think in next year's Lok Sabha election, it would be a tough fight for the BJP, because irrespective of what happens day after tomorrow, you will have the BJP, you will have the BRS and the Congress pitching against each other, and the BJP getting into that fight. The BJP, it looks, keeping in mind next year's election, would have been much more comfortable with a BRS victory and with the Congress being defeated, so that in next year's Lok Sabha poll, it becomes easier for the BJP to position itself against the BRS. So I think the rise of the Congress in Telangana is not good news for the BJP, because the BJP would like to have ridden on the shoulders of the BRS to defeat the Congress and then take the battle forward. But it doesn't seem to have happened that way.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the exit polls. And as we're waiting for the last one, we had to interrupt this conversation that was going on here for the Prime Minister's address from Dubai. But getting back to that conversation, that the question that was raised by Uma, Mr. Pullarao, why don't you start with a response to what the question that was raised by Uma?
One thing straight away, I appreciate what Umaji has asked. The BJP did everything to bring the Congress to power in Telangana. The BJP for 4 years went after the BRS KCR day and night. There's nothing else they did. And finally, it came about the ED, CBI. And I firmly believe that KCR's image took a severe beating after his daughter was summoned by ED. Psychologically, I believe that was the point when things started going badly for KCR. So the BJP, also if I made one more point, in Delhi with Kejriwal and Punjab, the BJP pushed them to ally with their eternal enemy, the Congress. Same thing they did with Mamata Banerjee. The BJP had a very, very short-sighted strategy in these 4 states, Punjab, Bengal, Telangana and Delhi. Those parties finished the Congress. But the BJP pushed them and made the unity there. Now, as the second part of the question of Umaji is, the ARS will have a very, very difficult time. BRS will have a very difficult time waiting and recouping, because they will try to, most of the leaders will be afraid to carry on with a defeated party.
Just putting a red herring here, Mr. Pullarao, this is only exit polls. We don't know how it's going to be. I'm sure the BRS would have its own.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah. And one sentence, in fact, KCR today has held a meeting, I believe, and he has said we'll have celebrations 2-3 days from now. So they're very upbeat, and they're very, while the other side is planning a swearing in, he is planning a celebration. I agree with you. We have to wait till then.
No, KCR is in fact going to have a cabinet meeting.
Sorry, Uma.
Cabinet meeting.
Yes, KCR is going to have a cabinet meeting at 2 p.m. on the 4th of December.
He's going to have a cabinet meeting. That shows the kind of confidence. Revanth Reddy announces the date for swearing in. KCR is holding a cabinet meeting. It's fascinating, but I want to focus on another aspect of this. And first to you, Ravi. If the Congress does hold those numbers at 60-62, is it straightforward that it's going to be Revanth Reddy as Chief Minister, or do you see a lot of bargaining play out there after that?
Well, if you look at Revanth Reddy's history, particularly in Congress, he became the PCC president just a year after, he joined Congress. The kind of image he has, got with Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi, I think he's going to be a major player, because the kind of response they have seen to his meetings, they have attended his rallies and also addressed public meetings. And I think, they strongly believe that it is because of Mr. Revanth Reddy that party has seen a resurgence in Telangana. Of course, he has done his bit, of course, holding rallies, holding Mahasabhas. In fact, one of his biggest meeting after he took over as PCC president was in Gajwel, where the chief minister represents from, and that was a huge success. So he challenged the chief minister, and I think he developed kind of image in Delhi, particularly in the AICC leadership, that obviously he would be the first choice. But the problem again is that the MLAs. Now, if you look at the ticket distribution, Mr. Revant Reddy has ensured that majority of his followers got the tickets, and MLAs also look for a leader who is strong, who can hold on to the party when the party
I have something to
gets
say here.
60-62. So the MLS will look at a leader who is actually confident of holding on to the party and trying to stop the defections and take on the BRS and BJP combined, which will obviously be after the Congress government if it's within majority.
Right.
So in my view, he would be the first choice. Okay. But there are very strong contenders like Mr. Uttam Kumar Reddy, very loyalist, and Mr. Bhatti Vikramarka, Dalit, who is the first Dalit
in fact,
leader
as
of
you
the
mentioned
opposition
that,
in the
Ravi,
country.
we are hoping to be joined by Mr. Bhatti Vikramarka in a bit. We were told that he will join this show in a bit. One of the newsmakers also, Mr. Suresh Reddy, the BRS Rajya Sabha MP, we are hoping to be joined by them. I believe we already have Mr. Tom Vadakan of the BJP. I just want to take one quick question to Mr. Tom Vadakan before we move back into the panel. Mr. Vadakan, how do you see this playing out for the BJP? Did you all pitch yourself too high in Telangana? Because all the exit polls suggest in the low tens or, around in single digits. While the vote shares may be significant, the rise of the BJP is going to hurt who? A, the BRS or the Congress? And B, did you overpitch yourselves?
Well, if it's a straight question, I have a straight answer. First, let me make it very candid. Whatever the Congress party does, I am making a prediction that they are not forming a government in Telangana. That's my stand, and that's the position I take. What the Congress does or does not do, people of Telangana are fully aware the kind of situation that prevailed when the state of Telangana was in demand. How many lost their lives? This is a reality that Congress cannot hide. They have a new leader who's a new convert.
Right.
And he has, created a situation where, I've seen this very often. When a new leader comes, he creates that aura about himself and his party. These are things that you can see through. Telangana, people of Telangana are fully aware the struggles that they went through. What were the operations that went through? I was a close observer of a situation like that. And who are the main players who finally gave in and formed the state of Telangana? This is the reality. And what is happening in Telangana and the Congress propaganda, I'm sorry to say, is not delivering. It is not the Congress that will form the government in Telangana. I am not an astrologer to tell you who will form, but I can stop there and say Telangana is not for the Congress.
You're saying it's still not for the Congress, though the exit polls are suggesting that. But thank you for that straight answer. We'll go back to our panel now. Uma, Mr. Vadakan, of course, pointing out that, look, you've got Revant Reddy who's moved in from the TDP. There is the old lot of the Congress that exists in your state, as we saw in 2018. If you had 18 seats, 12 of the MLAs shifted over to the BRS. It's a state where one needs to hold the MLAs together. I believe a lot of Karnataka politicians are already talking about holding MLAs together. What do you see happening right now? I mean, what's the sense you're picking up from within the Congress, from Mr. Revant Reddy, from the other leaders in the party?
there obviously are at least 8 contenders for Chief Minister in Telangana, and the Congress proudly says that we have a lot of talent and that's why the competition. But very clearly, like Ravi was pointing out, everyone, even Congress leaders, acknowledge that it's Revanth Reddy who has given the momentum to the Congress campaign now, and someone who was seen as being able to challenge KCR, and therefore he's certainly foremost in that race. He's the front runner in that race also because he seems to be in the good books of Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi as well. He has established himself as a leader who is able to lead the party and create an impact such that it is leading to victory. What I understand is that most likely it is Revanth Reddy who is going to be the Chief Minister in case they do get the numbers, and the understanding is that there are going to be quite a few winners from the OBC community and the SC community, and that is going to be decided by the central leadership is what we understand, that the cabinet possibly is going to be decided with more numbers from the BC and the SC community, and we could see a deputy chief minister as well because it's not just Bhatti Vikramarka which we are talking about. There is also Damodar Raj Narsimha who could be a contender. Of course, Uttam Kumar Reddy has been PCC chief as well, and someone who in fact has not shaved for the last 5 years. He has been growing a beard, saying that it's only when the Congress comes to power that I'm going to shave again, and therefore hopefully he will get that opportunity. An Air Force officer having a beard and having to live with it instead of being the, usually the clean shaven suave officers that we talk about in the Air Force. The other contender is also Komatreddy Venkat Reddy, who believes that he has a very good equation with the Gandhi family, and he has been going around saying that he has about 36 years of experience in the Congress party itself, and he is the senior most, and therefore he does believe that he is a contender for the post. But I would go with Revanth Reddy and the accommodation of the others.
Of the others along with Revanth Reddy. I don't know what that combination is going to be. In Karnataka, they had to play out quite a bit of a combination there. Sandeep Shastri, quickly.
I think the Congress has changed quite dramatically. It would take a lot of courage in the past for a leader of the party to say that I will be sworn in as Chief Minister on this day, something which Revanth Reddy did. So I think unless something really dramatic happens, if the exit polls are correct and the Congress gets the majority, I think it would be Revanth Reddy. And given the way he built up the momentum in the party, I think the party would have limited choice but to make him the Chief Minister. I don't know if Uma said there could be a Deputy Chief Minister. I believe there could be several Deputy Chief Ministers because given the caste dynamics you have to manage, it would definitely not be another Reddy. It would be somebody from the backward caste or the scheduled caste or even from the minorities. I think that's what you're likely to see happen.
That's right. We'll have to wait and watch for that. Obviously, as I keep pointing out, sometimes as journalists and television anchors, we need to remind ourselves and tell ourselves, look, these are only exit polls. We can only talk till Sunday morning. After that, the voters, what they've spoken will be spoken about. And then, of course, the politicians will speak and we'll listen. We'll take a very short break. As I mentioned, we're waiting for a couple of high-profile guests to join the show. Mallu Bhatti Vikramarka, as well as Mr. Suresh Reddy of the BRS Rajya Sabha MP. We hope to go across to them when we come back from this very short break. Welcome back to this special on Telangana, where we're discussing the outcome of the exit polls. We're still waiting for the final one to flash on our screens to come out. But Uma, in terms of the X factors we've discussed as far as these elections are concerned, we've focused on the minority factor, you've focused on the KCR factor. Even if the BRS, let's say it's a hung assembly and the BRS manages to stitch up something, the sheer fact that the Congress has given such a tough fight in these elections, and yes, we'll wait for the final poll outcome to come out before we discuss this further, should have shaken the BRS down, because they seem to be sitting in a position where, I mean, is it hubris, if you can call it that, or is it just not wanting to reveal what they were hearing from the ground? What's the sense? Is that sense of nervousness setting in? What do they say inside after seeing all these numbers play out on their screens?
the BRS still keeping up that front that they are very, very confident that they are still going to get the numbers and they're going to get comfortable numbers and that they are forming the government. That's what at least is the face of it. But if you ask them if things were to go wrong, what really do you think has gone wrong? They do point out, the insiders themselves do point out to the fact that possibly the gamble that KCR went with of going with 90% of his MLAs, or if not more number of his MLAs who he has repeated in 2018 and again in 2023 as well, and a lot of anti-incumbency was building up against them, because in the district in a party like the BRS, it is a very MLA-centric structure that the BRS went with. They don't have a parallel party structure like it happens in, say, a DMK or an AIADMK. Instead, it's the MLA who is the center for everything, and the party depends on him, the government, the executive arm depends on him, and if you want anything done in the district, it is that one-man person.
Right.
And I do understand, I do believe that there is a lot of anger, a lot of anti-incumbency against those MLAs, which could have played out in this form. Because even though wherever we were traveling, I must say that a lot of people would say that yes, we were happy with the kind of governance that KCR gave, or the development, or even schemes like Raitu Bandhu or pensioners, all that they were happy with. But yet there was this feeling that after 10 years, you needed to change some faces in order to, one of the insiders had in fact told me that if KCR had possibly changed many of those candidates, they would have had a different picture altogether in these elections. But KCR was also thinking...
I'll have to interrupt you. I believe we can go across to Mr. Mallu Bhatti Vikramarka, the Congress Legislative Party leader there, who's won his seat, the Madira seat, since 2009. Sir, thank you so much for joining us here on this exit poll analysis that we are doing. Now, obviously, these are still just exit polls, but they seem to be suggesting a win for the Congress. What would you believe is a comfortable number? I want you to answer that before the next question I'm going to ask, who's going to be Chief Minister?
The first question you wanted to answer?
Yes.
We will be getting a very comfortable number like 74 to 78. The number will be between 74 and 78.
And in terms of, the exit polls seem to be suggesting, the ones at least that have come out so far, seem to be giving around 60, 65. What would be the comfortable number, having been the CLP leader in a party which lost 12 of its MLAs after 2018, several defections? What would be the comfortable number in your assessment?
That's what I'm saying. We will be getting a comfortable number is between 74 and 78.
Okay. And in terms of...
This is after, not only exit poll survey and all that, me as CLP leader have gone around the entire state. I did Padayatra for 4 months from Hyderabad to Khammam. After seeing and meeting thousands of people in the field, I'm giving this number.
Okay. In terms of defining features, before I get to on this election, sir, who will be Chief Minister if the Congress does get the numbers on the 3rd of December?
This will be decided by the party leadership. Generally, for the Congress party, we have an established procedure. Like after the election, CLP meeting will be taking place. Congress is a party meeting. In the party meeting, our party leadership will come and take the opinion of all the legislators. Then they will decide the leader of the House, the leader of this party.
And in terms of defining features of this election, sir, in 2018, it was a very difficult election for the Congress. Since 2014, the party has been struggling in Telangana. You have your areas, which is like Khammam, which has been the traditional Congress strongholds. But it's regions like Adilabad, Nizamabad, which has been the traditional forte of the TDP and now the forte of the BRS. Where do you see the Congress really gaining its seats? Since you say that you've traveled around, where do you see the defining seats of these elections coming from as far as the Congress party is concerned?
Well, see, this is all of the state now, right from the Adilabad, North Telangana to totally South Telangana. Earlier, right from 1978 or 83 onwards, we were slightly weak in North Telangana. But now, what I see in North Telangana, people are so particular to vote for the Congress party. they say that, whatever the Congress party has given to us in the previous years, they are the only things which are there with us. Now the present government, in this entire 1 decade, we thought that we will get all kinds of benefit after getting a separate statehood with the wealthy state. But unfortunately, we couldn't get anything. Neither the water, nor the housing, nor the employment, nor the self-respect, nor any other welfare schemes or the developmental schemes. So people are under the impression that they got ditched and deceived and cheated by the fearless government.
Right. I believe, I have the Hyderabad experts, the Telangana experts on this panel, Uma Sudhir, my colleague, as well as Ravikant Reddy. Uma, if you have a question for Mr. Bhatti Vikramarka.
Veera, I'm actually going to rephrase what you asked Mr. Bhatti Vikramarka. I do understand he's saying we are going to get a 70 plus. We all know that the magic number is 60. What we are trying to ask you is, if you get only a 62 or 63, are you still confident of forming a government? Because your own party leaders have been telling us that unless you cross a 65 or even a 70, you are actually not safe and you are not going to be possibly able to form the government.
But as far as me is concerned and the entire party leadership is concerned, we are confident that we are forming the government with a comfortable majority. Even what you are saying is 62 and 65 or 63 also will form the government. And yes, there's no second thought about it. We can, yes, we are forming this time.
Okay, I have a very quick...
thought that's been the point of discussion about, whether if there is once again a Reddy who is made the chief minister, Congress has been associated with the community and they say this is really the resurgence of the Reddys. What would you say to that? Because your name is also being mentioned among the list of contenders for chief minister. But if a Reddy becomes the chief minister, it's going to be once again a resurgence of the Congress identification with the Reddy community.
Madam, I would like to say that Congress party represents all sections of the society. Why do you want to brand, in all the leaders who are all there in the Congress party, they treat, irrespective of caste and creed and religion, they treat themselves, they are all the Congress family members. We don't see the caste at all. We are all working for the party with a cause of the ideology.
Sir,
so, they're all Congress family members. We don't like that.
It's one family till the decision is made on who is going to be the leader usually in politics, sir. But my one question to you, and I'm going to make this very straight. Do you aspire to become chief minister? Are you a contender for the post?
It is our internal affair, but still, I'd like to tell you that we will talk to our party leadership, whatever we want. And finally, whatever the party says, that we will abide and we'll go ahead like that.
Okay. And from a national point of view, sir, from 2014, a lot of people said that it was, at least the Congress believed that it was the Congress and Sonia Gandhi who created Telangana at great risk of the party. However, on the grassroots, that was completely repelled with the KCR phenomenon. What do you think, if there is a silver lining at the end and if there is the exit poll predictions come out true, what would you believe is the defining takeaway for the Congress as far as state politics and Telangana politics is concerned?
What? See, Congress party is very clear now. And also, Congress party, not only Congress party, the entire state people of Telangana are having highest regard for Sonia ji, for making it reality a separate statehood of Telangana. People might be saying that, if that's the case, how come KCR has come to power? That was, in the beginning with some emotional issue, and also apart from that, wrong promises.
Right.
Those promises are in such a way, 3 acres of land to a landless poor is not a small thing. And double bedroom house is not a small thing for a person, for a family who are not having the house for generations together. And every family member will get a job. These kind of promises, and even a Dalit chief minister, what he has promised, these kind of promises made him to come to power.
All
Even after people knowing that the state has been given by, it has become reality because of the Sonia Ji and the Congress party. And for the past 1 decade, whatever the promises that he made, and the self-respect and the employment and resources are being looted by the BRS government and the leadership, which we have been telling the people slowly are a cumulative factor. They realized it and finally agreed whatever the Congress has been saying is right, and they have come to
We will have to wait for
the Congress party.
We will have to wait for Sunday evening, and I hope you will join us as we do the counting process. Thank you, Mr. Bhatti Vikramarka, joining us in the midst of it. You seem confident at the moment, so does everybody else. KCR has called for a cabinet meeting on the 4th. Let's see what happens on Sunday, sir. Going back to our panel for one quick final comments, literally 20 seconds each. Uma, Sandeep Shastri and Ravikant Reddy, starting with you, Ravi. Quick 20 seconds. What is the final takeaway for you from these polls?
This election?
Yes.
Well, I think it's, as I told you earlier in the show as well, this selection was about, KCR versus KCR and KCR versus people. So the exit polls showed that, the people have decided to keep away Mr. KCR for maybe one term, despite they know that, he is the strongest and most tallest leaders they have seen in the last 1 decade. So if the exit polls come true, I think that would be the main factor, that this election is all about KCR. And if the exit poll results are right, they have kept Mr. KCR away. And they have shown their anger on the MLAs more than Mr. KCR.
Right, we are completely out of time. I really want to get that last word in from Uma as well as Sandeep Shastri, but my producers are saying we're completely out of time. We simply have to get into a break. We hope to get the first word in from the two of you on counting day on Sunday. Uma, of course, will rely on you for taking us through all the details that come out on Sunday. Whether the exit polls are going to be verified or not, who knows who's going to have the last laugh. Thank you all for joining us. That's all we have time for on this show. The news continues here on NDTV.